Hi, Eric Gibaud, ericgibaud.com, and today I'm going to present you my 5 tips, advice, photography tips for February 2021. Let's start. My first tip or advice is to have always a plan B, plan C, plan D. Why? Because very often we want to go and make pictures of something or somewhere and something goes wrong. It's raining, or it's too cold, or it's too hot, or the place is closed, or whatever, and or light is not okay, or whatever. So always be prepared to have something alternative. Obviously sometimes it's not possible, but it's not always a case of rain or the place is closed or the climate. Okay, it can be also your gear. For example, your camera lets you down. Do you have a second camera? Not everyone has a second camera. Depends if you live if your business is photography. If you're an amateur, maybe you don't have a second camera. In this case, yeah, you cannot do any other picture. But if it's your work, you need a second camera. Or you have a second camera, but it's not the camera that lets you down, it's the lens. You have an alternative lens. Maybe you don't have the same expensive zoom lens or prime lens, but you have another prime or another zoom that you could actually use. So be ready to use it. You need to know how to use this gear for an alternative plan. Or sometimes you wanted to use no lights, no flash, and the place need flash, or you were planning to use flash but it's forbidden, it's not possible. What other option do you have? So it's very important that you are prepared for all these alternative plan B, C, D, and whatever you need. Okay, so have them in mind. Think that something may go wrong or something may need to have some adaptation, so have a B plan always. Advice number 2. I noticed that many people who have to do pictures they cannot repeat, like a wedding or the kid football match or an important football play or I don't know, whatever, and they miss it because they're not prepared. Or a car race, for example, you're getting paid for a special picture, or your best friend is running there, is driving, so he wants a picture. So most people miss this picture because they are not trained, they're not prepared. So it's always important that you train yourself for what you're going to do, especially if this is something you cannot repeat. So if you're going to do a wedding, a week before or 2 weeks before, you need to have a white and a black piece of fabrics and practice in sunlight, shadow, flashlight, indoor, outdoor, everywhere. So you know to expose properly for black and for white dress and suit. Okay, I advise you go to the church or wherever they're getting married. Ask there if they can switch on the lights, so it will look exactly as the same day. If it's outside, go at the same time of the day. They will get married to see how light is, or if it's indoor but you have some windows, same thing. So you actually train for the place, you know the place, you know how to expose properly, you know what light will be there, you are prepared. Or if you have to do a picture of a car race, for example, and you've never done it before, why don't you stand close to the road and practice panning with the cars that are passing by and things like this. You must train. So the more important are the picture and the less possible you can repeat them, you need to train. Or you have to do a product photography tomorrow for a company and you go to their place. Why don't you train at home and set the light, all this, and you can actually do the same lighting there. So you must train. I know that product you can repeat pictures, not the same, not always, but most of the time you can repeat picture. But you don't look professional if you have to repeat picture another day because you missed them. Or if it's food, they will have to cook everything again. So can you imagine? Third advice. Most cameras let you do bracketing. So bracketing, it makes actually 3 or 5 pictures with different setting. Can be a different exposure, different ISO, different white balance, different many things. Okay. So then after you pick the picture you like most, the way it looks better. But you don't always need to use this camera feature to have automatic bracketing that make 3-5 pictures every time, like a small burst. You can actually do that manually. Sometimes you won't need it, but sometimes when you're in doubt, do it manually. Make a picture, say, no, I make another one, and play with it. Sometimes you will play with speed, sometimes with aperture, so you get different depth of field or whatever. Okay, so when in doubt, or when you're not sure what's the best or the best exposure or best look, do some manual bracketing yourself. Make several pictures of the same situation, changing the settings. Tip advice number 4. There are some situations where the automatic white balance is not giving you steady results. For example, let's say you make 10 pictures of myself right now, and you see sometime I'm bluish or reddish or a bit colder, a bit warmer, and this is a nightmare, because if you make 20 pictures and you want to keep all of them or most of them, then you will have to do individual white balance after this. So on first option, the first thing to do is to get rid of the automatic white balance. So an option is to get a gray card, measure the color with that, and set a fixed set white balance, proper white balance for the situation. But maybe you don't have a gray card or you don't have time for that. At least change it to a preset. It can be daytime lighting or tungsten or whatever option. There are several options, and there's also an extra option, which is to set Kelvin temperature. So fix Kelvin, like for example daytime is from 5400 up to 5700 more or less, okay, daytime color. So you set it. Even if what you see is not perfect, it's not the exact color, at least the whole series will have the same mistake. It means that when in post-production you're going to correct the first picture, then as every picture has the same error, you can apply your correction directly to all the pictures. If it was an automatic, the error would not be always the same, so it would be a real nightmare because you will have to do individual setting. Obviously, using a gray card is probably the best solution, but not everyone knows how to do it or doesn't have it, okay? Tip number 5. Nowadays, we are many people using several cameras at the same time, or a camera, a smartphone, and an action camera, for example. And we spend the day making pictures, and then we edit everything, and we get everything into the same album to look at what we've made this day or as a reportage, okay? And sometimes we have some problem to get everything in order. Why? Because we should synchronize the time, the same time on every gear we're using. So the easiest way is to use your smartphone time, because this is the operator that's giving the time to your smartphone. Normally it is the operator, so it will be adjusted every day. It will be always on the right time, okay? So then you get your camera, and then you set the time of your camera same as your smartphone. Easy. You just look at your smartphone time, and then when you preset the time of your camera, and when you see it gets there on your phone, you get okay, and then it's set, okay? Same thing on your action camera, anything you're using. But beware that very often people tell me, yeah, but I did it like a couple of weeks ago, I think it's okay. No, it's not okay, because many cameras, they don't keep the time right, because there is a small battery in there, a small, very small battery aside the normal battery, and when you take out the battery of your camera, this small battery keeps the setting, keeps time, everything. But sometimes this battery is a bit old, or it doesn't keep too much the charge good enough, so the time is a slight day after day a bit slower, okay? So it gets wrong. So after a couple of weeks, maybe there's 5-10 minutes difference between your camera and your smartphone. So make sure you set it every time you're going to start the day, and you're going to make picture with everything or more than one piece of gear, and this way you get all your picture in the right order. Well, that's it. These were my 5 tips for February 2021. I hope you like them. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a small button down here, also a small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, you can leave a comment below. I'll also leave you links of my gear on Amazon, also links to other parts of my YouTube channel. Also, I'll leave you a link to my PayPal account in case you want to do a donation. Well, I appreciate. So thank you very much. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.